Yeah, hello, here's Eric from Laser Scanning TV. And today we have a short topic, what is very new on the market. Is this in petition or I don't know, what's the English, Daniel? What is the English name for this? Petition or?
Petition.
Yeah, it is a petition about open point cloud formats. I have one of the initiator, Dr. Wujanz. Maybe you introduce yourself and then we can go forward.
Yes, my name is Daniel Wujanz. I'm in the laser scanning industry since 2004. And I think we both met in 2005, I think, for the very first time. Yes.
Yes, I think so. I think there was some, on our conference, what we does, I think you was a presenter there and show your newest development to this time where you've been on this time. I think you was on University of Berlin and do there some research to ICP, or I think that was where we met the first time, I think. Yeah, okay. We have these, the topic is these, I think it's open point cloud format. I think that is the topic from today. And it is, there's few initiator of this topic. You are one of them. Maybe you can tell the customer, the audience, maybe short, what is the idea behind this and who are now the people who support these, these, how you call them?
Initiators.
Yeah, or initiative. Yeah.
Initiators, yes. So the general idea was behind this petition was, first of all, where is the biggest or where's the most money lost in this industry? And if you really have a clear look at all the different tools in 3D mapping, then everybody talks about quick, very fast sensors, but nobody talks about how you get from one software to the other, because this is where the biggest problem comes or arises. You have not one solution on the market. You have a different tool set, and depending on the project, you need a different, how should I say, different cascade of different software of different sensors. And the problem is where most of the money is lost and time is lost, as I mentioned, is connecting between different softwares, because it's impossible to that one manufacturer does it all. That's, I think, in my opinion, is quite frankly not possible. So that was, I think, the beginning of the why we started this petition.
Yeah, I can understand because if you now these scanning technology goes so bright in different industries and application, we since 2-3 years we are more stronger in construction industry, that we have also crafts now construction workers, like people working with wood and steel, and they want using technology like laser scanning. And then they told me that in this market in Europe, well, I don't know, there are around 200 CAD software we never had before. Yeah, and if they want all of them use point clouds, I understand it completely, and they have to speak to each manufacturer to get the point clouds direct, and not only about formats like E57, XYZ, or I don't know, LAS or something. I think I can understand, and maybe the audience also understand, there's a big topic in for this customer group who are not supported direct in the moment from the manufacturers to the software vendor. I think they have to go over these common formats, and I think they lost a lot of time, and it's definitely not a fun to use point clouds for them, Okay, I understand. Did you can tell who actually is the people behind this petition?
Yeah. So what we tried to do when we initially talked, we tried to depict the industry as such. So we have universities behind us, we have software developers behind us, so service providers who actually make their money with all these tools. So so I think we have 9 or 10 initial initiators who wrote the petition. And then we set up a homepage that will be, the address will be displayed later on, where you can actually support the petition.
Okay. As I find it also, as we are independent dealer for different scan systems, and we have these issues that people call us and say, we have this and that CAD system that we can read the data, and often we have to research this. Is this possible, or what is the I think I definitely find this interesting to get a larger user base for point cloud data, and also help maybe as existing customers to make them work daily work easier. Yeah. Understood. Yeah, and that I think this will be also who will be the most beneficial group of your work.
Well, that's a really good question. I think the general idea in the beginning was that the entire market should benefit from well, not just the petition, but hopefully the outcome. Because in the end, you as a manufacturer, you could sell more units if your entire workflow from data recording to exchanging data with other software is more, how should I say, more economic, more fluid. So if there are less boundaries, your client who you sell the scanner or I don't know, your system to will make you will have this return on investment much quicker compared to if you have to go via these E57 less exchange formats.
Okay, why you're not saying like you have these E57, what is basically I think was from the history 10 years in the past from I think it was US. I don't know, like also a society or for standards together with, I think, some government for building survey. I think that was the group that they figured this out. Why don't should go only and say E57 is the style, or is E57 a part of your idea?
That's an interesting question. And I have several answers to this. The very first one is there is no E57 as such. So there are many dialects. So, and if I, for instance, when 1 week while I was working, I received 3 different files from 3 different manufacturers, and every E57 style was different. One was counting points from top to bottom, the other one from left to right. So there, and some wrote initial values into, for instance, intensity values. Some use polar coordinates. Some change their format from firmware update to update. So whenever there's a new version, you who then tends to work with the outcome has to adapt. So, and that's taken a long time. The second problem, or the consequence of this, is that you have misinterpretations from one software to the other. So, for instance, if my software interprets a certain number in that way, it's not necessarily said that it's interpreted by another software in the same way. So, and that's the first big problem that you're facing.
As actually, this is more that you say we want find people to support this, and if the support group is big enough, then you maybe want to work together with your I think it was easy with your hood or something to make it also an offering for that you say, okay, that can be a format. As you want also bring a format, or do you say no, we don't want to do this?
No, I think
it is more the case that you say we want to regulate formats what we use, that not like a format like E57 will be changed from time to time, because then you have not. Also, did you need then finally something like a standard how you change data, or?
I think it's illusory to do this, because I think E57 and other formats, open formats, try to do exactly this. The problem is that every manufacturer has got, I think, is the best in working with their own data. So I think the manufacturer own data are for their data the best. So the problem that we're facing is that I call it, if you read the petition, it's called the digital evil twin. So the problem is you have, let's say, 10 gigs of raw data. If you then convert that to E57, you end up with 140 or 200 gigs of data, of additional data. And that is just required from going from one software to another that is not able to read the original data. So the problem is if you have these transitions between different software, you always have to use these exchange formats, and that creates data that can't be archived anymore. Plus, I mentioned it before, it could well be that you export E57 and the other software can't read it, so you create another one of these evil digital twins, and that's not handleable, quite frankly, because the data volume has increased drastically.
It can be there's part of this development can be that there will be another format what is maybe more practical or slower size, or is it more that vendors should be more open their SDKs?
The latter, I think, is the only solution that is really doable, so that the vendors open their doors, so to speak. So they have great formats. And if I have, for instance, we have a client who's got 10 scanners from 5 different manufacturers. So in that regard, you would have to use 5 different softwares. And then how do you merge all these different data sets together? That doesn't make sense. So if you allow other software to read their proprietary formats, then you can throw everything into one software, or use, for instance, if you have 5 manufacturers, use the most capable software out of the 5. That's
okay. So this would be like the idea would that also the big brands to themselves share each other the SDKs or something that you can read maybe direct Leica or Hexagon data in Faro or in Schwimble, but also that smaller third-party software companies have also the same support and can get also all SDKs, yes. And that the way how the data is coming from the hardware manufacturer to each software package is the fastest and quickest and yes. Best way for the customers. I think that's the if I understood this right, that's the idea behind yes. them. That's everybody understand this, be more open and not looking to your same ecosystem would be help more the whole industry to getting bigger and getting more customers. Yeah, yes. I understand. Yeah, that's that is more the idea. That's customer, I know that's if customer have different vendors because they have a short range scanner, long range scanner, yeah. Or they want to have 2 different vendors because they say, oh, we want benefit from both systems or we want to be more independent. Actually, they have the problem that they can go only straight in this direction and that. And then if they want to finally go from this software to another one because they're very specialized, then they have another data problem. And it is not really easy that you can say, okay, how the data go from one place to another. This is totally legal because every time I have the full choice to use it.
Yes.
I think I see one point. Should I, if the software vendors give them SDK full open, did a small software company like yours would be able to support many formats, or there would be also there a limitation by smaller software companies that they say, okay, we can only do the 5 biggest vendors on the market, not each one. You know, we're speaking about 200 laser scanners. If you go from small one to big one, is this a limitation?
I don't think so, because typically you talk to your clients. So your clients tell you what they need. Of course, it's impossible to have all interfaces on the face of the planet if they would be open, embedded in your software. That doesn't make sense at all. But if you at least have the option or the chance to offer, for instance, the most applied scanners formats by your clients in your software, I think that is definitely a drastic help for them.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting. We have these in other industries too, like looking in the CAD market. Yeah. We have DXF, we have IFCs. There is some collaboration standards. They are definitely also not fit all 100% of all needs from the market. But if they fit maybe 90%, then you help 90% of the users. Yeah, and I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, I hope. I think we will. Maybe you can show the website. Is that possible now? That you.
Yes.
The audience that they saw how the website is looking.
So this is the homepage. On the very first page, you can support.
What is that? The name is short. We should tell them it's openpointcloudformats.org.
Yes, yeah. The address is https://openpointcloudformats.org.
Yeah.
On the very first page, you could actually support it, but if you're not really sure, we've written different arguments and reasons why we think it's worth in supporting the petition and the cause. Yes, and also you can have a look at who signed, who currently actually already supported this. I think we have about 250 or 240 supporters already, ranging from companies, universities, and individuals. And yes, I think we have a lot more space for more.
Yeah, I would say, I think it's if vendors see that it's a mass interest, actually speaking, I think more only for laser scanning expert for maybe survey market, AC and mechanical market and maybe chemical market, you know, we don't, actually I think we're not going to craftsmen, to the guys from the construction or other user groups. I think the whole interest maybe much bigger. Yeah. As the 200, they signed it very quickly. What I figure out is a big number for such new, such new topic. And yeah, also we also will sign this petition, of course, because I think we and also our customer can benefit from this, because the E57 data changing is in the last formats, and XYZ is definitely not for our customer a very nice experience. And if we can change the industry to having more useful products, I think that's definitely worth it to do something. Okay, yeah, Daniel, many thanks for the introduction of what you started, or you don't start it alone. There was a couple of others.
Yes.
You can tell not the name, but how much they figured together, or you had an idea, spoke to some. It is like 10 people who started this, or
I think in the very beginning, well, I actually started writing something 10 years ago.
Okay.
And then 9 years after, I met somebody who actually approached, told me that he thought about doing something very similar. And then we talked to more people. And then in the end, we had about nine different companies on board, who then said, okay, we're gonna start this petition. So I think we had nine supporters, initial initiators. So
maybe you should ask Google also if they supported this.
Yes, sorry, give me their phone number.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Also many thanks, and we will put in the description below the link to your website. And yeah, many thanks. Wish you good afternoon, and hopefully success.
Thanks very much, Aaron.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.